go. What in the world is this?
This is the, well, we'll talk about it, but. We'll talk about it, but.
Is
We'll
this
talk
what
about it.
keeps Debbie's from getting complained about?
Yeah.
Which may
This is
is,
what we've been
may
working
not
on
even be
for-
their fault.
Working on for several years, finally come to.
Let's call to order the meeting of the Board of Public Works, City of Washington, Tuesday, April 9th, 7:30 a.m. Now you can stand for the pledge.
No, I just had to put some in my pocket.
I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
John Vietmeyer,
Here.
Mike Ratatek,
Here.
Brad Mitchell, Steve Richardson.
Here.
Steve Struberg,
Here.
Jeff Moheski, Steve Solentrup, and Jeff Packey.
Okay, thank you. So we have, do we have 2 months of minutes to approve? or
Yes,
is
we
that-
do, and I did not put the last month's in there.
That's what I thought, okay.
So I'm going to have to, if I can scan them and email them to you, Mike, and if you could sign off on them.
Sure.
Okay, as long as we approve them.
All right, well, let's look at the minutes for Tuesday, March 12th. That was the meeting, we did not have a quorum. So if you've had a chance to look at those, we'll take a motion to approve those.
Well, I wasn't here, so I can't approve them.
I wasn't here either.
You weren't here?
Only you and Brad could probably. I'll make,
We're right on, that's right.
I-
Kevin
I'm-
wasn't here, John and I were, and Steve.
I'll make a motion on the February 12th that we approve those.
Will.
Well, I was here for that one.
Yeah, I was too.
Did we get those? We got those?
Yeah, we got those last time.
Yeah, we had those last.
We've had those minutes last
Working on
time.
April, we're needing March's minutes approved and April's minutes approved.
So how do
February.
how do you go about approving?
February got approved.
This is April.
Okay.
Nobody was
We
here
need,
to
we need,
approve
yeah, we need the February ones approved, which I was
Yes,
here.
February and
So I'll
March.
make that motion.
I can second February.
Yeah, I
first.
can, okay.
All in favor of February's minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved for February.
Because you can't do March then until Brad gets here.
Until Brad
Next
gets
meeting,
back.
correct?
That's fine. We'll do that next month.
There you go.
We'll have a rolling minute approval program. All right, thank you. Let's see, first on the agenda, biological odor system. That
Yes.
sounds like something you must know about.
Well, I know enough about it to be dangerous, I think.
Okay,
Well, no, actually. We've been working on this ever since we installed the temporary biomass peat moss filter down at the treatment plant over the influent wet well.
yeah.
So that was what, now going on 3 years, I think, pretty close to that. So finally, we got it through budget. It remained in budget. I went through on pricing. There's 2 bids I was able to get from 2 companies to try and keep things apples to apples as far as equipment goes. 2 companies make the same type of equipment, basically. So in front of you, you have a request to move forward with purchase of these pieces of equipment. One of them is through Integrity Municipal Systems. The other one is through A2 Environmental. Integrity's purchase price is $101,400, and A2 Environmental is $106,691. There's $140,000 in the budget for this. That will cover some of the piping, which we will do in-house and installation of it. What this is going to do is this is going to take all of the odors that come into the plant. Well, I said that come into the plant because that's where it starts at. So it'll take the influent wet well. That'll be piped to this unit. It'll take the headworks building, which will be piped to this unit, and it'll take the grit separator, which is at the back side of the headworks building, be piped to this air scrubber, and then that will scrub through and discharge. It's a biological one, so it's easy to maintain. I actually went to Illinois and looked at a plant over in Illinois that's like 4 times the size of us. They have 2 of the integrities already in place. They've been using them for 4 years. They just now have 1 bearing going out on a blower on it in 4 years. They had some other scrubbers that they had used previously that were charcoal-based filters, and they were working on them all the time, so they got rid of them. That plant is actually expanding, and they're adding 2 more of these units in them. They like them that much.
So is there a life expectancy when you buy them?
This one here, the equipment has a 20-year life expectancy on it because there's not a whole lot to it. Now, there'll be a yearly maintenance on the biomass, just pulling it out, maybe reseeding it or replacing it. The plant over in Illinois, they pull theirs out and check it every year. They haven't had to replace the biomass material in it yet.
So is there a warranty with it as well?
Yes. Yeah, well, so it's standard 1-year warranty.
Okay.
Manufacturer's warranty on it, so.
When you say the wet well and the influent are piped into it, is there a cover over those?
Yeah, right now we have a cover over the grit cell, an actual fiberglass cover that we installed, I don't remember how many years ago.
Okay, so the cover stays, and then there's...
Then we'll modify that cover and put a apparatus on it to mount a tube to, which will then actually suck the air out of that one. The influent well, we will have to have a cover made for that, for the headworks, the very first one. We'll take off that biomass that we have there now.
Right.
We'll have a company build a fiberglass cover for it with the same type of connection point, and we'll pipe up the wall right next to one of our influent piping pipes that we have there, kind of blend everything in, take it up to the top. We'll run across the top of the building, bring 2 lines from the headworks building, and then drop it down the other side of the plant.
Is that cost to get that other cover? Is that, how much is that gonna be?
Meeting with the company today at 2:30, so they're gonna measure it and give me a cost on it. It's probably gonna run somewhere around $20,000 to $25,000 for that. But like I said, I have money, but there's budget money in there to cover that cost. So, and then all the installation we're doing in-house. Our guys will do all the piping and the connections and.
So are you recommending the integrity as the one?
Yes, I'm recommending the integrity as the piece of equipment to purchase.
I'll move that we accept
Second.
your recommendation.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve this as a board and move it on to city council?
All right.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to city council.
Thank you.
This discussion reminds me of something that we need to do. We had show and tell with the wet dry vac, and we need to get a field trip out to the
Yes, we do.
yeah.
plant. We haven't been there in a long time now,
Yes, and the weather has gotten better.
so,
We want to do it now. We don't want to wait till, well, actually, we probably ought to do it now.
Yeah.
And then once we get this air scrubber and all this equipment in, we'll do it again.
That's the question. How long will it be before this will, assuming the council approves it, how long will before we have it all
This
ready?
piece of equipment, it's going to take probably 12 weeks to get it here.
Okay.
Because it has to go through, and once we approve this, then Integrity will actually do a design and build of this piece of equipment for our plant. They know what size they want, they know the CFMs, but they'll come out and they'll actually
Oh,
do.
so each one of these is individually,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Yeah, these aren't package deals. Each one of them are individually built for the situation that's at hand. They came out, they took I gave them our plans from our plant. They took all the building sizes, all the wet well sizes, and they their engineers calculated the CFMs required to take all that and actually process it. Now they'll come out and actually measure where it's going to go, make sure that with our preliminary measurements fits what it needs.
So sometime in the fall, it should be up and
Yeah,
running.
yes. So we'll still have this summer to deal with it, but by next year, we'll have this installed, and by summer of next year, it should be. Now, not saying there won't be some odors down at the plant. I don't want anybody to think that we're going to
There
get rid
hasn't
of
been-
everything.
There hasn't been much lately.
No, but we'll still have some musty odors and some other ones, but that
Is this
strong odor.
Is that the part of the thing when we have it like in the fall when they will that eliminate that, or is that a different situation?
No, this actually should, eliminate the, every year for the fair, we have that, that strong, that once it won't take this year, but it'll be kind of neat to notice the differences, but it will absorb that because we get that in the headwork side of it, so that should take care of that too. But I want to make sure everybody knows it will not eliminate all of the odors.
Well, if it improves it.
Yeah, it will improve it, that's for sure.
Okay. Any more questions? They ship these babies all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right.
And Steve, if you want to read about this stuff, we got some information if you want to sit down.
Take on this as a new line of work, yeah.
Sir, if
We'll
you'd like
email,
a copy, I can email
we'll
it.
email it to you if you want to.
Okay, that's wastewater. What about water?
Water's doing good. We're still working on the specs for the Enduro Water Tower. That's going to take, it's just going to take time. That's just the way it is. So I think I put that down there in, old business. I did that to old business.
Okay.
So, other than that, well 9's coming along good. We have it under roof. We're working on the inside today. We should get some insulation and walls up on the inside. So it's moving along. By the time summer hits, we'll have it, when it's needed, we'll have it ready to run, so.
Gonna put a guardrail up alongside it?
Maybe some bollards or something.
It's a frame structure. It'll go down a lot quicker than the
Yes,
last
sir.
one. All right.
I will add something that well 9. The city, or we are paving Beaker Studerman Road and then putting some sidewalks on that south side. Part of that is I think we're going to kind of kick the intersection of Meadow Drive out in the Studerman a little further to get some better sight distance around the building. So that'll give us about 2 or 3 feet just to kind of help people pulling out to try to get on the Studerman Road. So I know Kevin's been asked that a few times, and so have I, is, trying to see around that well house. Can you move it? Well, you can't move a well, but we can maybe neck down that portion of the street a little bit to try to see around the building a little more. So if you get that, we're going to be working on that.
Sure, that makes sense.
And then in addition, on the water side, Kevin and I have been working pretty diligently on getting meters installed down in the riverfront. In the past, there were, I think, 6 or 7 spigots. I think 5, see, I'm way off. 5 spigots that were down there that were not metered. And what we noticed was a lot of the individuals that use riverfront were actually had their hoses hooked up to it. So it was essentially, I said, where there was no water being, water being paid for. So we put some meters in with some shutoffs, and now they're essentially open for more or less purchase or use service from the city. So those individuals who want a spigot can now come to City Hall, sign up for service, put a deposit in, and then get a bill in the mail for using whatever water they have. So it's just.
So is there like a code if you, let's say you're down by the boat shop or the boat area, if that's where one of them would be, and somebody wanted to run a hose to clean out a boat or whatever, would they have a code that they put in?
It's their spigot, so if they choose to,
Oh, it's their spigot.
it's
Okay.
theirs.
This is
Yep.
up by the boat docks, I get
The docks themselves, correct.
Okay.
Yep, from along the trail right now. So you'll see those red frost frees that are just sitting there. But it's up to them to secure their own spigot. We essentially got them up, ready for use, and then we said, you guys can come in and take over service of them, but you're responsible to maintain them from the curb stop in and everything else, just like we would do with any other residential service.
Following the regular residential code
Yeah,
for that.
exactly. It mirrors the exact same city code.
Is the public spigot like at the pavilion still?
Yeah, the only,
This is,
Parks.
go ahead, Kevin.
okay, that's parks. There is one frost free down there that it has a meter on it, but it's a city frost free that's up by the telephone pole, right where the parking lot is. There's that telephone pole there. There's a frost free there. That is a public frost free. Anybody wants to use that one, they can use it to fill up a jug or whatever. It's far enough away from the river. They're not going to stretch a hose across there to wash a boat. But all the 5 docks down there that have water, they're individual docks. They're now being considered individual properties, in a sense. They're not, in a
Yeah.
sense. We're following the same code as a residential person has, and they're being charged water just as a regular residential person, so.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if they want electric, they got their own electric meter.
Correct. And that's where this came from is we could manage, I mean, it's good to have the service down there for the people using the riverfront, and we could manage one spigot. When you get to 5 of them, it gets to be a little bit ridiculous, and quite frankly,
Right.
everybody else pays for water, so.
Yeah, and we was down there working on the hydrants all the time because something would happen to them. So I'd have at least 2 guys down there probably every other month, maybe even every month working on it when they should be out working for all the rest of the residents. And so now it's been handed over to the dock owner. If anything happens to it, just like my house, all of our houses, anything happens
So they
to it,
will, I don't know, they will be shut off until service is set up. So right now, I know the boat club came in and got service set up, so then we turn the meter on, or the shut off on, so they're actually paying for service now. So I would anticipate that to kind of permeate out a little bit, and the rest of them be claimed as well. So, and then quite honestly, if the dock owners themselves want to work something out and put a splitter on the end of this frost freezer, that's up to them. I don't care. As long as the water's getting paid for, we should be good to go.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
so other than that, water's doing pretty good. Actually doing real good.
So what is the wastewater treatment plant award?
I went to the AWWA MWEA conference.
Oh, really?
That is the American Water and Wastewater Association and the Missouri Environmental Association groups. We're members of both of them. And so when I was down there, I was notified a week prior to the city of Washington, and they're supposed to come do a full-blown presentation at a council meeting. So at that point, we'll all have to go. As soon as I find that, whatever that is, I'll let everybody know, because I'd like everybody to be there. You know, you guys and my crew included. We won small systems treatment plant of the year award.
Is that right?
Our wastewater treatment plant won Small Systems Treatment Plant of the Year
us.
award. Yes. Somebody nominated us. Don't know who it was. It was nobody from the city. It was nobody that I know that knows anybody of the city. They won't tell me who it is, but I guess that's the way it goes. But yeah, so
Nominated us for that award.
nominated us for it.
And that's an award that they have annually, I guess?
Yes, it's annually. This year, there was apparently 6 plants in the running. There's hundreds of plants of our size in Missouri, and this is for the state of Missouri. They're just not nominated, or they're not. We don't. Our industry, as you guys probably realize, our industry we're out of sight, out of mind. We always say that. Talk about it a lot. We only hear the problems when there's problems. You never hear the good side of it. You always hear the problem side of it. So the organizations, whether it's the Missouri Rural Water Association, the AWWA, American Water and Wastewater Association, the Missouri Water and Wastewater Conference, which we're members of all of them, and make sure we stay members of all of them, they're all trying to change the nature of water and wastewater. It's always been, we don't talk about what we do, we just do it, and we're very quiet, we stay out of the limelight. But we're finding within the next 5 years, we're going to lose 50% of our workforce to retirement for the industry. And what everybody's finding, and we have it here too, is nobody wants to work for this industry because they don't get recognition. It's a lot of it now. The workforce today is about recognition, and we're not. We don't do that. So we're all going to try to, as an organization and as cities, we're all kind of getting on board with it, that we need to start talking a little bit more about what we do, kind of bring this industry up to where some of the other industries are on seeing, the opportunities, the enjoyment. I mean, myself and my crew, we do this because we enjoy it. I mean, and we just need to start talking about it a little bit more. So that's kind of where the direction we're running to.
All right.
So anyway, so we got the award. I'm very proud of the guys and my whole crew, because it's not just the 4 guys down at the plant. They're the main guys that do the work, but the rest of the crew, when they're on call, they spend 7 hours a weekend, 8 hours a weekend, down there running the plant on the weekends to make sure it's running on Saturday and Sunday the way it should on Monday through Friday. So it's the whole crew has received this.
Works together. Keep it going.
Good for you guys.
Good to hear.
So anyway, so that's that. So we do have a plaque. I left it out in the truck. If you guys want to see it, when we get done, I'll go get it. You can see it. But there will be a newspaper-worthy presentation.
All right. Exciting. And now back to the Enduro Tower. You were starting to tell us about the specs.
Yeah, I'm working with. I'm working on getting the specs together. We're gonna put a ring on the top of it, a frame ring on the top of it, like we have up at Crestview, for some of our antennas that we're using to communicate between all the, every one of our water towers is a meter communication point too. So Enduro's got such a slanted roof that the antenna that I have out there for my meter system, instead of it standing straight up and down like it should, which gives it its optimum receiving, it actually leans over at an angle. So, it works better at a 90 degree rather than a 75 degree or whatever it is. So that's going to be mounted on it. We have our communication antenna up there for to bring all that information from that tower back to Crestview. It's just kind of mounted on the handrail, which is not approval of the DNR, so we're going to get that off of that with that ring and stuff like that. So it's we're changing it a little bit, so it's going to take a little bit more on the specs to get that done. So.
Is the work around Crestview last fall, when we were closing it out and everything, there were still some...
Yeah, we're gonna go up there
all that stuff?
we got to go up there and seed and straw it for the spring and get it going.
And that's all in-house though,
Yeah,
right?
that's all in-house
The
stuff.
contractor's gone.
Yeah, that's all in-house. Yeah. We have all the equipment to do that, so that's all in-house. And they left, what was it, $39,000, I think, is what was left over from that.
You put a lot of
For that
grass
work,
out there
yeah.
for $39,000.
That's what I thought too, so they knocked that off, so.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so. But yeah,
okay. Let's see, budget doing well. Speaking of old business and maybe new business,
yeah, I think as of right
Look
now,
through it,
we're doing all right. We're starting the budget process for next year already, so we get that together. I'll try and get that to you guys for the May. I have to get it to Mary by April 15th, but I'll get it to you guys in the May budget. It's going to be a working project anyway, so
Right.
it's always a working
is,
document until it's done. So.
probably a question for John, is Mary and administration continue looking at the income and expenses for water revenue?
Yes, I mean, obviously that's ongoing. We need to, Mary was out for quite some time, so I've not scheduled a meeting with her recently, but we do need to continue on that. I know Kevin had some pretty good information that we received from Mary Trentman, City Clerk, and I think I gave that to you, John. I don't know if that got out to the rest of the board, but it just shows how our water rates match up with essentially all the other cities in Missouri. And I think the shocking thing that I saw there was we run about 50%, 50 to 60% less, or 50 to 60% of the average, quite honestly, than the rest of the state, which is pretty impressive. Just it's a testament to Kevin and the guys working just what we can get done with the little amount of revenue coming in. But that's why this discussion needs to move forward, is because over the next 3, 4, 5 years, that there is a budget situation that we need to resolve. So once we have all those figures and everything put together, we'll put a presentation and give to everybody. But
Well, then I guess that kind of falls in line with the additional water tower on the east end of the community,
it does.
because that's a long-term thing, but we had the study several years ago now that said we need to be working on it.
Yep.
Yeah, the study shows that there's a need for a water tower, and that is where we see most of our growth right now. I trying to think, there's probably been 120 lots platted in the past 2 years, with houses being built in that end of town, that southeast area. There were dollars, if you recall, that were in the capital improvement sales tax that were kind of captured. It was not 100% of that tank. So they were obviously offsetting costs, but we need to come up with our own revenue source to take care of those things as well. So that all plays into that. Us continuing to maintain our sewer system as well. I mean, it all kind of meshes together. You know, we're treating all that water too, so it's something that we definitely need to talk about. And we've started the conversation. And like I said, with that information that we had with the other municipalities, I think it really shows kind of where we sit and how we spend the money the best way possible with the little amount of revenue coming in. So,
All right. Speaking of money, and my brain went back, if I could digress, the pumps at the foot of Walnut, what do we do? Several weeks ago, we approved the purchase. Is that thing on its,
Yes, it's in the process. The pump is being built in Sweden right now. It should be here hopefully by May. So as soon as that pump shows up, Vanderbilt Engineering is doing the work for us. Was all part of that purchase. They already have it's scheduled in their workforce that as soon as that pump shows up, they are out here and we will be working on that, getting that installed. So hopefully sometime in May. Now it's a pump that size, 185 horsepower pump. They don't have them on the shelf, so they build it from ground up. So it takes the time to build it.
okay. So, I mean, you know, that's just another indication. We're spending money to keep this system running,
we are.
both water and wastewater. And I'm sure that's on your mind, but it's also on ours.
Well, right, and we had a fairly decent, you know, wintertime here with water main breaks, things like that. We actually got got through fairly unscathed. But I think that, you know, as we ensure that when we pave streets, we do these things, we make improvements across the entire gamut of the city, that we look at those water mains and sewer mains and make sure that we're not, you know, throwing money away 3 years down the road. So we're trying to keep up with that and improve the system as we move forward.
Right.
You know, like I said, it doesn't make sense to go do a big street improvement project that's going to last you 10 to 15 years, and all of a sudden the water pipes and the sewer pipes, you know, all collapse on you, and you got breaks underneath the pavement. That doesn't look good on anybody. So it's trying to capture those dollars to kind of keep that program running as smooth as possible, and that's what we need to talk about, and that's what we are talking about.
Right,
So.
okay.
And the term you'll always hear, and you're going to hear a whole lot and a whole lot more, it's aging infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if we don't take care of our aging infrastructure now, us as customers now, that aging infrastructure is going to continue to age, and then our kids and our grandkids are going to have to deal with it. So do we want to just keep pushing it down the road? You know, I mean, it's time we actually start thinking about it, and it takes money to do that, and operational costs increase every year. But when the revenue doesn't increase because we're not raising rates a little bit to cover that, we can't do it. It's going to get to a point where us working as streamlined as we can, and that's what we're doing, it's going to catch up with us. It's going to catch up with us, and then, you know, I don't want to be the guy that was sitting on my heels because we was worried about raising rates, and then we really raise rates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know, so do we raise rates incremental now, or do we raise rates in one great big lump sum, which I've heard some communities talk going to these conferences. There was one community raised rates 85%.
You know, one of the things that some organizations do when they have these types of fixed costs that you're going to have every year, I mean, rates are going to go up, et cetera, is that they find whatever the rate is that they think is fair and works for everybody. And then every year they just have a cost of living
Yes.
increase
That's-
associated with the rate. So hell, it may be $1, maybe 10, whatever, and it's painless versus, and you don't even really think about it.
You've hit it right on.
And that's one of our thoughts.
we gotta-
That is one of our,
The idea is to get caught up to where we should be. So
Mm-hmm.
to get your datum zero or your floor, hit that floor back to where you should be. And that may be incremental over time. We don't know yet. We haven't gotten that far into it. But that's exactly what, I mean, what is CPI? It's exactly what it is. It's cost of living. It's the cost of just the day-to-day stuff. It's not a 2% raise in your pocket. It's a 2% that everything else around you went up. And that's where we haven't kept up with that just as a group here, and it's you know, it's kind of fell behind a little bit. So that was the idea, is an escalator based upon CPI, figuring out what exactly, where we get that. I guess the state of Missouri would tell you what that is, and every year it would maybe be 2.1%, maybe it would be 0, depending on how things move within the overall global market. So,
Yeah.
Okay,
great, that's exactly
thank you.
on the same page, so.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up something. And John and I have talked about this before, but I saw somebody, there was a bad wreck over by the show as I was coming to work. And that intersection is getting to the point, I mean, if we took cameras down there and you, from up by the show, took pictures at certain points of the day, it's like a frickin' circus. When you see that picture of India where all the cars are going, that's what it looks like. You got people coming off one, going across. They have no regard for what the traffic laws are. They're trying to beat somebody through that subdivision. A guy pulled out in front of a semi the other day because he was trying to beat it on one of the blinkers. And as he was doing it, somebody decided to make a right turn onto Rabbit Trail. So it basically, and go across. Okay, so he was going this way. So he basically cut off his turn area and almost was clobbered by this semi truck that was going down the highway. John, somebody's going to get killed there.
It's the worst intersection in town.
There is, and there's a fix for it. We've got to fix this thing. And I know you've talked about putting 2 left turns, and that'd be fine. But these people can't keep coming out of the thing, going out of the intersection on that side road, going across 2 lanes of traffic, and then trying to make a left, and the people coming to the right go across 2 lanes of traffic, and the people that are going straight are trying to beat the light, which is a short light on top of it. You got people going this way. It's a frickin' disaster, and somebody's going to get killed, and then somebody's going to say, well, I guess we should have addressed that.
Worst intersection in town. There's a traffic study that was done when Phoenix Center 2 went in that identified the need to make a right in, right out at that location. The city does not own the street. Phoenix Center Drive is not a city street. We do not own that property at all. There is some other agreements with the Phoenix Center 2 retailers that require 3 accesses to that point. I mean, I'm not denying that. I would never do that. And I have a solution. There's a solution that sits at my desk that I have. There's money that I have to fix it. It's just, we don't own the property, and there's so many other things that go on that are not just with the agreements and everything else, that it's a complicated thing to solve.
I understand it, but I guess the point is, we're getting ready to present, I'll just tell you, we're getting ready to present a petition to the city from all the subdivisions.
It's exactly what we need.
Because, we got people back there, and they're not young people, let's be honest. You've got the nursing home, you've got all these people that are probably over 60 years old, the majority of them. Their skill sets going through just driving cars aren't the best in the world. And now it's even getting worse because they just opened the road that goes past the park from the other subdivision. Mm-hmm. So instead of some of those people using the light, for whatever reason, they're taking a left coming down and then using the light at Rabbit Trail, which is crazy. I don't know why they do it, but it just doesn't seem to me that in the best interest of those things that they can't go up 1 block. I mean, that's all it is, 1 block to the next light. And then you got a big, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring this up, but
Oh, no,
I honest to God, I don't know if this person was killed this morning, but it's nuts over there, and somebody is going to get killed.
Like I said, it's the same thing I've had before. We have this solution is on my
So
desk.
what do we do? I guess that's the question.
Well, when I say we have the dollars available to build the improvement, which would essentially be locating Phoenix Center Drive further to the south. So there's an entrance apron that goes into the bank property on the west side of Rabbit Trail as you work south. There's just a concrete entrance apron there. The ideal situation would be is to line that up. So just snake Phoenix Center further to the south. That would free up then a left turn lane on the westbound 100 because you wouldn't have an immediate left turn lane on the Phoenix Center. Everything shifts further to the south, which would kind of just give the intersection more room to breathe, really. And that would solve the problem. The problem with that is the cinema sits, the actual building itself sits so tight to the intersection that you'd have to take away their entire parking area. You have to condemn the street. You quite frankly would maybe have to tear down the building. So, I mean, there are things that can be
The
done.
reality of it is, if they just eliminated that alley, you know.
That-
for only-
true.
If they just eliminated the alley for only emergency vehicles, okay, and made everybody just go up to the light and use the light, you eliminate half the problem right there.
Your best solution at this, and I could give you minutes upon minutes and minutes at the traffic committee, and me presenting this till the cows come home for the last 3 years with the exact same solution, okay? But the reality is, get the petition submitted, and we'll continue to work forward.
Is there anybody that we can talk, that can, in the business area? I mean, if these people realized, or did they
As
care?
far as the business, well, the business owner that owns the property would be, well, I mean,
Joe.
Vernacci.
Okay.
Joe Vernacci owns essentially all the buildings in that area. Target themselves, Kohl's, all those agreements are in place.
Okay.
And your best resource there would be, you know, working with Joe to tell them what they, or to just let them know
We're
what the issues
talking
are.
about a block. I mean, just people going
Yeah.
up a block.
MoDOT's on board. They own a lot of that property, right where the cinema sits, where the actual signage sits there. They own a lot of that. They're on board with working with us on acquiring some of that property if necessary. So everybody's teed up, ready to go, except I don't own the property. And that's the problem. Not I, the city doesn't own it, sorry. We don't own that property. So it, could the city, I mean,
We can't eminent domain anything from a standpoint of just as hazards say
if
it?
the answer could be, could you? The answer is always, yes, you can. Is that something that city council wants to do? I won't answer that, but.
Okay.
I'll go on record.
We could, see, the only thing we could do is put a fire hydrant right in the middle so that we'd have to close the street and they go the other way. So
I'd support
This is a
that.
major problem. And that's, I mean.
And it's
seriously,
getting worse.
Steve, he's 100% correct, it's the worst intersection in town. When people come to me and say, speeding here, traffic here, this, I'm like, I don't care. That's such, you know, minor stuff. This is the worst intersection in town with high rates.
And the other problem is.
Things of that nature. So, no denying
The lights
it.
are so short, like with the left turn.
But,
And I know that.
the lights being short, that's something that's a tough one because MoDOT sets those lights the way that they want them. We just have to follow suit.
And I know it's to
So-
continue the
So what you
traffic.
do, but what you do there is, and it's important because the lights being short, so what you have to look at other solutions to get around the intersection then. So we're looking at a bridge connecting from Stonecrest property over to Rabbit Trail. That would alleviate, because the whole problem is connecting retail, commercial retail to residential, right? In that whole area, you have to go to that intersection to make that happen.
Well,
So,
Stonecrest is now open, isn't it?
I don't know if it's open yet, but it's paved.
Yeah,
It's ready
okay.
to be open. I don't know that today.
Yeah, they were on the last section a week ago, so.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's getting platted, I know Monday night, final platted. But what I'm getting at is to get your large Lake Washington individuals and the Malvern Hill and all those condos, which has a restriction that no more properties will be platted until another connection is made. So keep in mind. So we're doing everything we can to keep people off of that intersection, short of going the eminent domain route, which, once again, I'm not going to stand here and
No,
answer.
I'm
Will we-
not trying to,
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you I'm
okay.
giving you
but.
the truth.
But we
you know.
gotta do something, because it's just,
And I would say we are doing, it's baby steps, we are doing, it's recognized. It's recognized in many traffic studies in the past. We've not done one recently, but I've had many conversations with MoDOT. They agree. So it's just get the property wrapped up and we can make something happen. There's $450,000 of street money that's available to fix this that I've been holding on to for this one spot,
I mean-
rather than put it out on all the other, because it is recognized as the
when
most dangerous spot.
when they had the bad wreck on 47, and I'm sorry to take time, but when they had the bad wreck on 47 with those kids, then the hue and cry went up, we gotta make this 4 lanes again. And it seems like, I just hate to have somebody killed there to say, you know what, we're gonna finally fix it. And somebody's gonna get killed there.
Obviously, safety on the streets and everything else is our number one priority, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Good
problem.
discussion. And we've got the time, so.
Yeah.
Any other business for the good of the Ardor? Next meeting will be Tuesday, May 14th, same place, same time. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It's your paper clip, but if you don't want it, you can use it.
I already signed,
Back-
I already signed the ones for February.
You,
After that last
throw
meeting,
some
you gave,
asphalt up there.
Yeah,
Don't-
I'll,
don't I sign-
I'll mention it to our,
not for the last meeting, but for February you did.
You
When I
too,
was here in
Steve.
February.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
that's why I said we've got a couple of work.
Here's what I'm gonna do.
So he
Well, he's
covers
always,
everything.
he's usually at the meeting. I didn't realize he was in charge of everything.
Yeah, he's in
All
charge,
right.
in charge of everything.
So the road back there is now
One last month, right?
connected to Stonecrest?
Yeah.
February's meeting that.
Well,
Bernese Drive.
it's the next
Okay.
road up that goes to the stoplight, which is fine.
I got
They
you,
use
I
the
got you.
stoplight. All it is from where the creek is to the interchange. It really, the show is not really part of the problem. It's that one little road
That little road.
that everybody thinks, well, boy, I'm gonna cut off a block. John, they come up